Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video. Now we've got a couple updates that I wanted to go over today, but yeah, the last video I made, it was about a generational entry, and I think we got that insane entry several times. You had several opportunities to buy below, I guess, a 9 million market cap, even below 10 mil if you want to be more conservative. Many different opportunities to do that. I could spot like one, two, three, four, five wicks, and maybe you had to be a bit quick, but hopefully you got in. And even then, even if you didn't catch the exact dip, that's perfectly fine because look at the previous chart. If you got in here at a 1.7 mil market cap, you top blasted. But we barely ever touched that area again. We touched it here on the wick, but that's it. And ever since then, you would have been up very, very large. And I expect the same thing to happen here, right? Because ultimately, the narrative is the best narrative. And I wanted to speak a bit more about the narrative in general because I've been saying, oh, the mascot narrative is very good. He's the official mascot. This is why it's going to go up. And I completely agree with what I said in the past, but I did want to explain a bit more why I think the mascot narrative is super, super strong. Okay, so let's look at lock-in. I like this example because I think it's very easy to understand the trends with lock-in. So if you go back to lock-in, the lock-in chart, you could see how correlated it was with the term lock-in being popular. Now, yes, of course, the Solana ecosystem did heat up as well, and that definitely gave it a boost. But to understand a good meme coin, you want to buy it when there's not much hype around it. So, for example, here, when there's not much hype around the term, or even better, here, and then you want to sell it once it reaches peak hype. So, each of these massive booms were people using the term lock in more and the term getting more and more popular. Why would you buy once the term is very, very popular? You want to instead buy when the term is not very popular and sell when the term is very popular. So, what are you betting on when you buy a meme coin? You are betting on more people learning about that meme coin or learning about that character or that term or using the term or whatever it is, whatever the case may be. But you always want to buy and then in expectations, you want to buy in expectations of more people learning the character or whatever the whatever case may be, because this is not a character, this is a phrase or a term, right? So with Abster, same exact thing. You want to be buying Abster before everyone knows who he is. And then once everyone knows who he is already, which would be when Abstract grows a ton, then that's when you want to sell. So that's why the mascot narratives are very strong, because as abstract chain grows in popularity, then more and more people will see who the character is. And I wanted to go over this past pump. Like, I'm not exactly sure why we pumped the past few days, but I think Token 2049 in Dubai is a very good reason for why Abster pumped. And why? Because look at this. Finn, head of marketing. He posts, make sure to find me in Dubai this week to grab your own little plush Abster. Okay? Board Kiki. Abster has safely arrived in Habibi Land. Who's here for Token 2049 Dubai? Right? Excited to be here with Abstract. The team of Abstract is constantly promoting Abster. And I have been saying this literally from the start because I've been in the Abstract Discord for a very long time and I've understood what they were telling us. They were literally telling us start using Abster more. Why? Well, I'm not exactly sure why, but I assume the reason is because that's what Luca likes to do. He likes to have a character, or he likes to have a symbol of the brand, and then that symbol of the brand, he likes to put it everywhere. Look at all of Luca's past businesses, Gel Blasters and Von Dutch, and he also sold like gold chains at one point. His main idea is put your product everywhere. Then everyone sees the product and then everyone buys the product. And that's what they're doing with Abster. And that's what they're going to continue to do, because everyone is eventually going to see, oh, Abster, that green penguin. Oh, that guy's from Abstract. Oh, cool. Abstract is everywhere. So ultimately, what I'm saying is Abster is going to continue to be everywhere. So keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. And it's very, very good to see. I knew this from the start, right? I've said this in previous videos as well, but it's very good to see that it's actually playing out, right? It's cool to see it's playing out, and it's going to continue to play out. Abster will continue to be everywhere. We also have a lot of random people. Sorry if I'm calling someone a random person, but people not on the Abstract team that are just posting about Abster. Why? Just because he's the mascot. Now, this is actually one thing that I think I explained last time. Like, one of the benefits of Abster is the fact that you put the character everywhere, but you're not shilling the coin. You're just putting the character everywhere. And that's, I think, one thing that's very, very bullish. And yeah, Scarly is also in the Abstract ecosystem, but he got Abster chocolate. They had these all around Dubai, I hear. And yeah, that's very, very bullish because they're just putting him everywhere on everything. So yeah, keep that in mind. That's what makes Abster the best bet on Abstract Chain. Because as Abstract Chain grows, Abster will be put everywhere. And as Abstract starts to do more marketing, because they haven't even started yet, they want to do marketing when the bull run is in a larger effect. Obviously, because then you could capture more attention. And when they do that, Abster will literally be everywhere and anywhere. And I think you guys aren't realizing the power of that. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting situation. I think we haven't seen anything like Abster. I think we haven't seen an official mascot on a chain that's actually going to grow and be a very, very good chain. That's, I guess, the next part I wanted to speak about is Abstract's growth. So Luca literally said, I should find this. Abs will be top 5 coin. See if we can find the video. There we go.
Really high liquid float. Basically, there's like very little unlocks. What you see is what you get. Typically, chains, because they're incredibly expensive to sustain, and there's a lot of moving parts with the ecosystem and things like that, they tend to be lower float, higher FDV. So the initial opening price will be, I think, higher in terms of like if Pengu's $3.5 billion a day, Abstract could be $5 billion, $10 billion. I mean, it's going to be a spectacular masterclass. It's going to be so different than what anybody else is doing. So I think in that respect, that thing is going to be worth probably coming out the gates $5-10 billion bucks. So
Yeah.
Penguin.
So that's pretty crazy. Of course, you could say maybe that's an over exaggeration, and maybe it is. But I do really believe that Abstract's product is so good. I think Abstract is actually doing stuff that matters. And I think Abstract has a real use case in crypto. And so I think Abstract will be a top 5 chain. And if that were to happen, you know how big the mascot of the chain would be. Like, I think a lot of people aren't realizing that. But yeah, looking at a bit more specifically into Abstract, I mean, we've seen a lot of consumer apps get attention in general, not on Abstract, in general, right? What are the most popular apps in crypto currently? I guess you would say probably Polymarket, Pump Fund, and you could probably name a couple more. And what do all of those have to do with Abstract? How are they related? Well, all of those apps are consumer apps. Why are they consumer apps? Well, because that's what people like using crypto for. They like using it for consumerism. So when you look at Abstract, that's literally the whole point of Abstract, is to be the consumer chain. And considering consumerism is the number one use case of crypto, at least right now, I don't see a way where Abstract doesn't continue to grow and doesn't continue to go crazy. So when Abstract is a top 5 chain, what is Abster's worth going to be? That's my biggest question. And I truly think a lot of people aren't ready for this, because we've seen Base chain heat up, right? We've seen Base become, I guess you would say, a top 5 chain probably. They don't have a token to tokenize that and very easily see it on CoinMarketCap that they're a top 5 chain, but they're a very good chain, a very strong chain for sure. And look at Brett, it went to 2 billion. Look at Toshi, it went to basically 1 billion. I think Abster being the official mascot when Brett and Toshi are not an official mascot, they were self-proclaimed mascots, I think is like maybe a 5 times better narrative. So if we see, on top of Abster being the best narrative and being the actual official mascot of the chain and Abstract going to be a top 5 chain. I think we could also see meme coins come back potentially in general. And then instead of seeing these runners that run to like maybe 1 billion max and then die, or maybe they run to 5 billion max and die like we've seen in the past few months of this cycle, I think maybe we will have some higher runners, maybe running to 10 bill. Maybe we'll even have a doge of this cycle running to 100 bill, and that will raise the ceiling for a bunch of these meme coins. And I also think Murad speaks a lot about this, how meme coins are going to be very, very big because a lot of people want to continue making more and more returns, right? We moved from something that provides like 5% a year to SPY, which provides 8% a year, then Bitcoin, which provides like 20% a year. Actually, it's more, but I think you get the point. And then eventually you're going to keep having sectors that are more risky getting more and more attention. And so eventually that will be meme coins. And I think meme coins can continue to go crazy. I think meme coins are going to they have been outperformers, and I think they will continue to be outperformers. We've seen Doge, we've seen SHIB, we've seen now Solana season with Bonk and Whiff go to like 5 billion or whatever. I think we will continue to see a growth in the meme coin sector. I think meme coins are here to stay, and I think Abster is going to gain a ton of attention as it's the mascot of Abstract. As long as Abstract continues to grow, this is probably the best bet on the chain. But yeah, I think Abster will be everywhere. I think we're in for a very crazy ride. I think we're gonna go crazy, and I think a lot of people are fading just because they don't understand the power of Abstract as well. So yeah, I'm super excited for the future, and also congrats to anyone that watched my previous video and maybe got in on one of the dips. You're probably up like 40% now if you got in like at 10 mil market cap. So that's cool. But yeah, much higher to go. I think we've got a long way to go. Super excited. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll update you guys if there's anything else we got to talk about.